Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you. Our region's business, improving our economy, creating jobs, and strengthening communities. Innovation, collaboration, transformation, and the people making it happen. Join us as we take a closer look at our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's Business, why comedy's not just a laughing matter at the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust, plus twin efforts to diversify corporate board leadership by creating more opportunities for women and for African Americans. But first, forging the future of the natural gas and petrochemical industry in our region. Chevron and Peoples Gas have teamed up to lead an initiative to make the most of our region's abundant natural gas resources by focusing on increased gas-fired power and heating, developing manufacturing clusters, and expediting key gas pipeline projects to ensure stable gas production. Stacey Olson's here with us. She's president of Chevron Appalachia. And Morgan O'Brien is president and CEO of Peoples Natural Gas. Good to see you. Welcome back. You've both been here before. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's start with how the whole Forge the Future report ended with a report, but how did this effort come about in the first place? Why now?
Well, for Chevron, Forge the Future was an important initiative to try and build the awareness of how huge the gas supply is here. So essentially, this region is sitting on the second largest gas field in the entire world. And what we found was that the awareness was not that high, but also the demand did not quite match the supply. So we wanted to start an intentional conversation of what was the opportunity to build the demand to better match the supply.
And then this is really about building demand here in our region,
demand.
right? To
Correct.
make sure there's a market for all this gas.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, we've known about the gas since what, 2004, I think was when they struck gas, and it's been kind of an ongoing discovery ever since, right?
Right, and you worry, right, when you think about it. So it's the largest gas reserve in the United States. So we've got more gas beneath our feet than anywhere in the United States, which means if you use natural gas, it should be cheapest here, right? Because you don't have to move it to other places and pay for those transportation costs. And so to me, the challenge was to educate people on how do we use more of it here? How do we take advantage? How do we grow the economy, grow jobs, create opportunities here by using this as one of the tools, right? When we compete against other regions, how do we use this tool to bring people here?
So the barriers right now is sort of lack of demand within the region, but then also the ability to move gas to other markets. Are those sort of the two big issues?
Well, yeah, what we found, and we teamed up with one of the best consulting firms in the world and really asked them to quantify the size of the opportunity. And the report was designed to answer really two questions. One is, what is the potential of the resource, and then what are the strategies? And so they came up with the 3 strategies that are outlined in the report of how to better build the regional demand. And one of those, of course, as Morgan can talk about, is to enable more Pennsylvania homes to use and benefit from the low-cost natural gas and switch from costly fuel oil. The second strategy was around building competitive industry clusters. And the third one that you were touching on is to enable the infrastructure to get the gas to other markets, because the resource is really so large that the region will never be able to use it all. So it makes sense to get the gas to some other markets, particularly the Gulf Coast.
So that's reassuring. There's enough gas down there so we can sell some of it out of the region and still have plenty for us to use here and build our own economy?
Yeah, there's an analogy that said if you just take what's within Pennsylvania, it's obviously New York, West Virginia,
so it's
Ohio.
a multi-state play.
Multi-state play, but if you look at just what's within Pennsylvania, it could provide 100% of the energy needs for the United States for 15 years, which obviously it's not going to, but it gives you a perspective. It's going to be around for our lifetime, our kids' lifetime. It's going to be here for a long time. There's a lot of gas here. And what's really ironic about it is back in the 70s, the country thought we were going to run out of natural gas. And so what happened in a lot of places like Western Pennsylvania, we started looking at other energy sources. And so literally towns were being built with homes and factories, and we didn't pipe natural gas there because we were going to run out. And so we've completely flipped that now and said, we've got so much gas, and how do we take advantage of it? And how do we create those economic opportunities? One is to take advantage of the folks who are here. So more than half the people in Pennsylvania don't heat their home with natural gas.
I thought it was a lot higher than that in terms of those who do use natural gas, but there's a lot of room to grow that.
And ironically, most of them are in rural communities where a lot of the gas is being drilled. And it's actually close to where the production is, but it goes back to this area that we said we're going to run out of natural gas, so we're going to stop building pipelines. And then the other phenomena is that now we have more gas here than what's coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, right? So for however many years, all the natural gas in the country basically came from the Gulf and it fed up through pipelines. We had small production sites here in western Pennsylvania, but the bulk of our gas came, and now that's completely reversed. And that's what brought Shell here, right? It was that they left the Gulf and came up here because this is where all the gas is.
And that becomes another piece then to build this petrochemical manufacturing and other kinds of manufacturing using this low-cost gas. So if we could do it, is there an opportunity? We've already had a tremendous amount of economic impact from having this industry invest here over the last 10 years or so. A lot more potential if we were able to really make all of these kinds of things happen?
Yeah, and that's the why now question. And only a fraction of this gas or the resource has been produced, and so now is the time early on to put deliberate strategies in place. If we just let this play out on its own, the study suggested that you will not maximize the economic benefit to the region. And so the economic benefit is huge. The consultants modeled a potentially $60 billion increase in state GDP. That's about a 7% increase above the current trajectory. Over 100,000 good-paying, family-sustaining jobs, and probably most importantly is about a $3 billion increase to the Pennsylvania tax revenues.
Wow. So tremendous upside here. I assume the report's available. People can Google it, find it online, whatever.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the interesting, I'll say, local stories around this is, you know, we're talking about developing the airport and, you know, the 10,000 acres that are out there that are undeveloped. And sitting beneath it is all this gas. So we talk to the county executive and the airport executive and say, you need to have, look at the report, you need to have a plastic manufacturer potentially out there 5 or 6 miles down the road from the cracker facility with a feedstock feeding the plastic. You need to have high-tech computer systems out there that use lots of energy. It becomes an energy park around the airport, and that's really how they're going to be marketing it. And a lot of it came from the report.
Really can be the core of a whole new economic development strategy.
Absolutely.
Pretty exciting stuff. Morgan O'Brien from People's Gas, Stacey Olson from Chevron. The report is called Forge the Future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And next up, the lack of diversity on corporate boards and what to do about it. Stay with us.